Tombs are unquestionably one of the most fascinating discoveries which can be made within archaeology. The burial location of lost kings and emperors, due to the legacy and prestige of the individual. Locating the burial site of remains is incredibly historically important. With certainly the most famous tomb discovery, rumored partial raid, and curse said by some to have been cast upon those who committed such acts, was that of King Tut, more commonly known as Tutankhamun. Made by Howard Carter in the Valley of Kings on November 4, 1922. He located the unlooted tomb containing arguably the most famous historical figure and his accompanying artifacts ever found on Earth, the king's remains and his glorious solid gold jewel-encrusted death mask. Rumors have also circled other tombs for centuries, and if true, testament to the competence of the preservers of their kings and queens. Many have claimed that when opened, for a few short astonishing moments, the individuals seemed to have only just died, or in some cases appeared so well preserved as to still be alive. Also claimed to have decayed in the air before the discoverer's eyes. This reported worldwide from England to Antarctica, yet physical documentation of such phenomenon remains lacking. Yet, I digress. The following item of interest, if publicly exposed, could possibly be just as historically important. Recently discovered within Inner Mongolia, a sparsely populated yet enormous span of terrain, this find, quietly studied and, interestingly, although clearly of an incredibly curious form, was photographed very little. A typical symptom we often encounter when a find is made which includes civilian assistance. Yet these civilians, once the controversy that a find may create is recognized by the powers that be, are soon notified their services are no longer needed, and details of its discovery confidential. Such as the media backout incurred within Cheops when Ganton Brink's robot successfully tunneled into a secret inner chamber, once rumored to have been connected to, or the tomb of the Egyptian god Osiris. Yet when the media and independent journalists were allowed to return to the site, Zahi Hawass and his team claimed the quote, tomb had been looted in antiquity, leaving nothing but an empty room, one that curiously took them 2 weeks to examine, before eventually allowing the public to see it. This find in many ways is no different in terms of the apparent media blackout which has descended upon the tomb's occupant is incredibly familiar. The contents of the tomb and the actual sarcophagus-esque tomb itself, it must be noted, are now proudly on public display, but the individual who was found within, which now appears to many to have possibly been the remains of an ancient alien, have been kept under close guard, as any efforts to attain any additional study or photography of the corpse have been in vain, and no others are yet to surface. Could this, in fact, be the remains of an actual ancient alien? Possibly a visitor who died on our planet? Or a survivor of a crashed ancient alien craft, worshipped by an ancient civilization as a god? We find such possibilities incredibly intriguing.